Hi guys, this is Simeon from Swedish Homestead. Today is going to be a very different video. It's Christmas today, starting today. We celebrate this time, but interestingly, Christmas is one of the times, or the time of the year, where depression hits an all-time high. Suicides go up during Christmas. People are more lonely during Christmas than in other times. And really the opposite should be. People should feel the other way around. So today I want to share a video that is very personal, has to do with sadness, fear, sickness, hardship in our immediate family. In fact, that is one of the main reasons why we travel to Arizona, where we are right now. But it's a story of hope, a hope that I hope can really bless all of you. I hope that we want to extend to all our viewers all over the world on this day, Christmas 2018, and hope it will really speak to you. And I hope that you are not depressed this Christmas, but that you will find joy and be inspired by the source of our joy as we share this in this video and in this story that is real and a real struggle.
My name is John Schul. I am 64 and I live in Chandler, Arizona.
My name is Judy Schul. I am 57 years old.
I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in May of this year, 2018.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer in June of this year, 2018. I am the wife of John.
I'm the husband of Judy. When I was first diagnosed with cancer, it was kind of a shock. I wasn't expecting that. And at the same time, because I know other men who have been through prostate cancer and have come out the other side of it fine, doing well and living long lives, I wasn't really frightened. It was unexpected, and I knew that there would be processes involved, but I wasn't frightened.
When I found out John had cancer, this is probably where I get emotional. It was, I had to process my fear first, and because I couldn't picture, we've been married over 32 years, and I couldn't picture my life without him. And I started to go down the road of fear, thinking about it, and I realized, no, I can't do this, because I felt like God had a plan, and I needed to be faithful, and I have faith. I didn't want to let fear drown out my faith and my hope. And for me, he already has ongoing medical issues and chronic eye disease, and so there's a lot of things that I do all the driving, I help with, and it made me really sad to think that he had to bear another health burden. I went in for my annual women's exam, and the doctor was doing the breast exam in the office and paused for a second and in one area, and then she says, here, let me have your hand. I found a lump. I want to show you. And in that instant, it was like this new knowledge was just imparted on me, that I was about to begin this big journey. 2 weeks later, it was confirmed that I had invasive ductal carcinoma, which is the most common kind of breast cancer. But now, all of a sudden, I too have cancer. My husband has cancer. I have cancer. My first thoughts were, what if something happened to me? I have to be here to help John with the things he can't do because of his partial blindness and vision loss. And again, I had to process fear and quickly put it away and say, nope, this isn't about me. This is about something far greater. This isn't random that we have cancer so close together. God has chosen us because he wants to use us in this journey to show others the hope that we have in him.
Well, when we found out that Judy also had cancer, it was the process of going through doctor's appointments and all of the exams, all of the testing and everything, it was like taking on another full-time job. The low time for me was when Judy found out that she had cancer, because she carries such a burden already. She is the sole breadwinner for our family now, and she is the sole driver, and so for her to have to take this on and then this health scare, it was a lot, and it was sad for me, and at the same time I just maintained my hope in the Lord, knowing that as Judy mentioned, our hope is in the future that the Lord has given us, and that there's a plan. We're not just going through this just because we're sick and we're going through it. There's a bigger plan here.
I was so busy in those first few weeks that I hardly had time to process anything I was feeling. It was many appointments, and like in a week's period. I've never seen so many specialists in my life, and for me, I had more specialists and diagnostics that I had to have done than he did for his. And it was like I likened it to running a small business or something. And then all of a sudden I get to my treatment and I start that, and I'm working the whole time too. And working, fortunately I was able to work from home. And it was, when I finally did reach a point where I could feel what I was feeling, I remember a few times, not a lot. I didn't go there very often, but I remember a few times feeling just sad. And one day, I just had this really melancholy, sad day, but I felt like it was important because I needed to feel the emotions and the pain and the sadness of what we were going through, because that was the very thing that God was carrying for us during this time. My life passage is Hebrews 10:35 and 36. Do not lack confidence, for it has great reward, for you have need of endurance, so that after you have done the will of God, you will receive his promise. And that has carried me through so many challenges in life, but especially this one. Don't lack confidence, it has great reward. And it reminded me that I should have confidence in this process that God was carrying us through. He placed just the people in our lives that he had planned to be here for us. Dear friends and people from our church that were there for us, and sometimes even strangers that brought meals or did things for us. It just amazed us at the goodness of people and the way every little thing met a need and helped us during this time when we really couldn't carry the full burden ourselves.
In the Bible it says to give thanks in all circumstances, and I think that Judy and I were both on a path of being prepared for something like this in our devotional time, having been studying much more intently the concept of turning things over to the Lord and giving him your problems, and not worrying about things that you can't control or trying to control things you shouldn't try to control. And giving thanks in all things has a whole different meaning for me now. It means, Lord, even though I don't like the fact that I have cancer and that Judy has cancer, I thank you that you have chosen us. I thank you that in the midst of this difficult time for us, you are blessing us beyond our wildest imagination.
Being able to let go of this notion that I have any control over any of this anyway, and actually experiencing this overwhelming peace when I did let go. The facts didn't change, the circumstances hadn't changed, but learning how in a moment, to just accept this peace and hope that we have in the Lord. Letting go, that cast away the fear, and I grabbed hold of something that could help me, and that was my faith in Jesus.
Hey guys, I'm Ben Courson, the founder of Hope Generation, and I have a singular mission, and that is to give our generation hope. I don't know if you're aware of this, but suicide is one of the top 10 leading causes of death. Suicide is committed once every 40 seconds. We live in the most oppressed generation on record, and my heart for us is that we would go from a mope generation to a hope generation. I don't know what you're going through today. Maybe you're going through heartache and heartbreak. Paul the Apostle said, we glory in tribulation because tribulation produces patience, patience experience hope, and hope maketh not ashamed because of the love of God spread abroad in our hearts by the Holy Ghost, which is given unto us. What I'm trying to tell you is that pain makes us stronger. Tears make us braver. Heartbreak makes us wiser, so we can thank our past for a better future. Pain either has the power to break you, or it is the power that makes you unbreakable. What it is depends on whether you react to your suffering or whether you respond to your struggle. We can take situations that are painful and convert them into pain fuel that drives us on toward our destiny, because we know that if we kneel before God, the God of hope will stand up for us. And if he stands up for us, nobody can ever stand against us. The Bible says that God heals all our diseases in the book of Psalms. He's actually called in the Old Testament Jehovah Rapha, the God who heals. And he doesn't just heal physical maladies and sicknesses, but even broken hearts. In fact, did you know the phrase, a broken heart, was invented by the Bible? It traces the genesis of its origins back to ancient biblical Hebrew literature. The phrase a broken heart was invented by the Bible. 900 times the Bible speaks of your heart. It's the sum, the seat, the center of who you are. And if your heart is hurting today, let me encourage you that joy is a choice, hope is a journey, and sometimes we have to fight for what we don't feel. Because when we're going through our worst, God is planning his best. And our greatest opposition produces our best acquisition. And sometimes your most incredible miracles come right after your greatest tribulations, traumas, tempests, and trials. So I want to encourage you that your tragedy will turn into triumph. That everything's going to be okay in the end. So if it's not okay, it's not the end. And it's okay if you're not okay. It's just not okay if you stay that way. I want to give you one closing thought. In Psalm 56, we're told that the Lord collects all of our tears in his bottle. David, the psalmist, says, "Are not all my tears collected in your bottle and written in your book?" Now, back in ancient biblical culture in the Mediterranean era and epoch and geographical region, in Bible times, women collected their tears in tear bottles. So your tears of sadness and your tears of gladness, as a Jewish woman, you would collect it in your tear bottle. When you got married, you would then hand it to your husband, thereby saying, "I give you all of my heart, the joy and the grief." In all four Gospels, we're told the story of a woman who washed Jesus' feet with her hair, her perfume, and her tears. One scholar suggests, that scholar being my dad, that perhaps what she was doing is she took her tear bottle and poured it on Jesus' feet, thereby declaring, "I am the bride of Christ." So this woman in all four gospel stories who washed Jesus' feet with her hair, perfume, and tears was very likely pouring her tear bottle on Jesus' feet, thereby declaring, "I am the bride of Christ, and when I give you my heart, you will take really good care of it." Jesus said, "If you've seen me, you've seen the Father." And I want to encourage you that the Father is in fact the God who heals all diseases, Jehovah Rapha, the God of hope. And just because bad things are happening around you does not mean they need to be happening inside you. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control what comes through you. God doesn't do anything to you. He only does things for you. And if he's going to do something for you, he's first got to do something in you. So don't look down and give up, but look up and get up, because Jesus rose so you could rise. He collects all of your tears in his bottle. They are not lost on God. They are caught by God, so you can relax and sit back. because every setback is a setup for a comeback. And just because you go through hell doesn't mean you need to smell like smoke. We are the people that have gone through fire, carrying buckets of water for those still consumed by the flame, because our fiery tribulation does not burn us. Our fiery tribulation forges us, because God is a consuming fire who never burns what we are. He only burns what we are not. So even when we go through our biggest breakdown, God is preparing his greatest breakthrough. I love you guys.